Forecast is something that everybody's going to want to hear.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover here in the weather department. One, we're dealing with some snow in some portions of the area, but two, right around the corner is another Arctic blast that's going to be moving in just in time for the weekend. Currently, we do have some light to moderate snow that's falling across the far south and southwestern portions of the area, especially in LaSalle County right now. We're starting to see some of those darker shades of blue showing up, so about a ½ inch to an inch going to be possible there. Basically everywhere else, though, it's just going to be a dusting for those of you that do end up seeing the snow. But the big weather story is all about this weekend. We have a polar air mass that's going to be moving in, and sub-zero temperatures are in the weekend forecast. Those details coming up.
We're following up tonight on the man accused of stealing an ambulance, which led then to a police chase. It happened last month. The suspect, this man, 59-year-old Lamont Hill, who has pleaded not guilty to 27 separate charges. Police say Hill stole that ambulance from Loretto Hospital with a medic inside. He is due back in court January 13th. The family of the late Chicago police officer Crystal Rivera now suing the department after her former partner Carlos Baker shot her on June the 5th. Fox 32 Chicago's Brett Bagansky is learning new details tonight about the lawsuit, including an on-again, off-again romantic relationship.
Where is justice for my daughter, Crystal Rivera?
You can hear and see the pain from Yolanda Rivera talking about her daughter, Chicago police officer Crystal Rivera, who was shot and killed in line of duty by her partner, former police officer Carlos Baker.
That grief does not ease with time. It doesn't ease. It follows us every day.
The two of them were going after an armed suspect in Chatham on June 5th. Baker reportedly kicked open the door to an apartment with Rivera behind him in a tactical position. Baker fired his gun, which hit Rivera in the back.
She was in a tactical position behind him. And somehow he managed to shoot her on a 180-degree angle. He ignored not only his partner being shot, but he ignored the fact that Crystal Rivera was also his romantic partner.
Antonio Romanucci is representing the Rivera family in a wrongful death lawsuit against CPD and Baker. Lawyers are claiming the two had an on-again, off-again romantic relationship, and by March of 2023, CPD supervisors knew about it, but said prior to their relationship and after, Rivera requested a new partner multiple times, and those requests allegedly went unanswered. By February of this year, lawyers said Rivera found out Baker was in a relationship with another woman. In May, she ended the relationship. One day before Rivera died on June 4th, Baker apparently showed up at her place unannounced, which lawyers say played a role in why Baker chose not to render aid in Chatham.
She told her supervisors that Carlos Baker was reckless. That's why I can tell you with confidence that Chicago Police Department knew. They knew at all times.
Romanucci also said Baker had 11 misconduct complaints against him in less than 3 years, including one on his first day. They highlighted a complaint in December of 2022 from an ex-girlfriend of Baker claiming he flashed a gun at her at a bar while she was on a date.
Unfortunately, that case, not only was it never prosecuted, the investigation was dropped 3 months after it was started.
And I hope, and we hope, that this legal action brings real answers.
I reached out to Chicago Police Thursday to find out what they had to say about these allegations. A spokesperson told me they don't comment on pending litigation. Meanwhile, the Rivera family wants a jury trial in this lawsuit. Brett Bagansky, Fox 32 Chicago.
Cook County Crime Stoppers need your help tonight solving a homicide that took place 4 years ago today. Officials say a suspect from inside a vehicle shot 45-year-old Frank Hall while he was standing near the corner of East 43rd and Ellis Street in the Oakland neighborhood on the south side. Hall died 10 days later. There's a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. In a direct rebuke to President Trump, lawmakers in Indiana have refused to redraw the state's congressional map, a decision that could potentially alter the balance of power in Washington next year.
Today's vote is more than a decision. It is a reflection of who we are.
In the Indiana State Senate, where Republicans outnumbered Democrats by a margin of 40 seats to just 10, a watershed moment likely to have ripple effects that will be felt all the way to the 2026 midterm elections. At issue, redrawing Indiana's congressional map in an effort to eliminate the two Democrats representing the Hoosier state in Washington.
Redistricting is about who is in charge. It's, to one of my colleagues' points, actually is about trying to predetermine political outcomes.
I haven't heard anybody stand up here and say, hey, this is a bad idea.
The redistricting vote, usually reserved for after census data is taken, was the direct result of pressure from the White House and follows decisions in Texas and California to redraw their maps in an effort to tip the scales of power in the House of Representatives, where Republicans hold just a 5-seat advantage. But while Trump won Indiana by nearly 20 points last year, Hoosiers weren't ready to get in line behind his efforts to redraw their map. Recent polls showed a majority of Indiana voters wanted no part of redistricting, and that had Republicans in the Senate taking notice.
I, like a supermajority of you, do not want to see another Democrat Speaker of the House. But that isn't for me to decide. And it isn't for anyone in this body to decide either.
Misinformation, cruel social media posts, over-the-top pressure from within this state house and outside, threats of primaries, threats of violence, acts of violence. Friends, we're better than this.
In the end, 31 senators voted against the new map, with only 19 voting to redistrict. A sound defeat for President Trump, who wasted no time threatening Indiana lawmakers who voted no with primaries next year.
Meanwhile, protesters in Indiana turned out at the State House ahead of the vote, bringing signs and chanting, hoping to push state lawmakers to vote against the new maps. Tonight, a huge show of generosity for Lurie Children's. The grand total is in. They raised nearly $1 million. Thanks to listeners and viewers like you, the hospital's annual Radiothon brought in more than $925,000. And that money will go towards life-saving patient care, critical research, and family support. Casey Cronus has our recap.
We have had a blast at this year's Lurie Children's Hospital Radiothon. It is one of the hospital's biggest fundraisers of the year. We have chatted with so many special guests today, from families, kids, doctors, and nurses. And joining me now is the Director of Corporate Partnerships, Aaron Kahn, to talk a little bit about this awesome day. And what does the Radiothon mean to you?
This day means so much to us as a hospital, not just because it unites so many people in the hospital with this amazing energy you can see and hear all around us, but also because it unites people in their local communities around the Chicagoland area, across the entire country, in support of our hospital and the amazing work that we're able to do for the patients and families we serve.
And every dollar that's raised goes right back to the patients and to the families that rely on this life-saving care. To see some of those patients and their parents and guardians come back on a day like the Radiothon and thank their nurses and doctors after such successful care and treatments, how special is that for all the staff here?
It's incredibly special. I mean, just today we got to see young Marshall, who joined us for this same event 1 year ago, waiting for his heart, to be here after receiving his heart transplant, back at home at school thriving. But also a patient like Ella, who got to meet with her doctor, who came down to congratulate her. She's the longest living survivor of her leukemia subtype. And so just these stories and seeing the whole network that they have around them, not just their family, but support from the community, and then even support from their doctors upstairs. It's really cool. It actually makes me and a lot of people quite emotional.
It's really a powerful day, and if you at home have not had a chance to donate yet, there is still time through the weekend, right, Aaron?
Yes, you can still donate through the weekend to help support the Radiothon and our total. We look forward to this event every year, and we appreciate every dollar that our listeners and viewers give us.
Aaron, thank you, and thanks for everything you do. And thank you to our viewers who have taken part in this year's Radiothon. A couple of quick shout outs to John in Park Ridge, Naomi in Chicago, and Nicole in Lombard, and to everyone else who has donated this year. Thank you. Reporting at Lurie Children's, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
And Fox 32 Chicago, a proud sponsor of the Lurie Children's Radiothon. And, oh, by the way, there's still time to add to the grand total. Donations open through Sunday. Just scan the QR code for details. Well, again, get ready to bundle up tonight. It is just the start of a really long and very cold weekend. Emily is tracking the forecast and when more snow is back in our lives. Plus, where did the buffalo roam? Well, right in our area, and that hasn't happened in nearly 200 years. We'll let you know what prairie is now their home.
On the 12th.
Well, this is pretty cool. For the first time in nearly 200 years, a herd of bison are calling a local prairie their home. This herd currently resides in the Burlington Prairie Forest Preserve near Sycamore. They got here on December the 5th, all thanks to a partnership with the Forest Preserve District of Kane County and the American Indian Center of Chicago, along with the company Rooter Bison. The company will take care of these animals. They plan to create, in fact, educational programming for the public. And I don't know about you, Emily, but that is awfully cool.
So cool.
We were talking, Brian, our producer, and I, and technically there are currently bison here, but they are in captivity at Fermilab.
Oh, okay, and the difference here is that these are going to be roaming free.
Yes.
Yeah, they're so beautiful. Look at how happy they are.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, we did a little history here, Ryan did. The last bison killed by a hunter way back in 1837.
Good. It should be that way. Long time ago.
Yeah.
They're too beautiful.
How about that?
Yeah, I love that. And I did my own research too. They're the largest mammal on our continent.
How about
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
All right. Here's something else I know a lot more about. We're going to be looking at very, very cold conditions going into this upcoming weekend. Tomorrow, near 30. That, too, by the way, is below average, but still warmer than what we had today. Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 15 degrees above zero is going to be your high temperatures, but the entire weekend, wind chills will likely not climb above zero. We're going to be dangerously cold, especially Saturday night into Sunday when wind chill temperatures could be as cold as about 15 to 25 degrees below zero. Also out there tonight, we're tracking snow across the far south and southwestern sections stretching from LaSalle County and then down over into Newton and Jasper counties. A little accumulation with this, but it really shouldn't exceed about a ½ inch to an inch. And it looks like the heaviest stuff is actually going to be in LaSalle County. Everywhere else, just a dusting. Futurecast, the system takes off and moves on out of here going into early tomorrow. Mainly dry skies tomorrow. We have a cold front coming through. Spotty snow showers going to be possible, but no accumulation with that. And then another system is going to arrive on Saturday just to kind of, make things a little more winter-like for us, as if those temperatures around 12 aren't enough. We have snow, especially for locations around and south of I-80. We could be seeing another round of light accumulation. Your 7-day forecast tomorrow, 30 degrees, 12. That's all we're going to do on Saturday. Sunday for the Bears game, 10 degrees for your high, sub-zero low temperatures, very, very cold. And then on Monday, we're expected to be in the 20s, but 30s, and then 40s, and then 50s, Scott. So we're moving in the right direction. Let's get a check of your weather pick. Gorgeous from Jen. And this was taken in Lake in the Hills. Very winter-like.
I like that when the snow or ice adheres to the branches.
Me too.
That's a very cool look.
It looks good until they break.
Until they break. All right, thank you. Well, hundreds of thousands braving the cold weather right now to celebrate one of the largest Catholic gatherings in all of our nation. It's the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and our Leslie Moreno was at the shrine in Des Plaines, where there are concerns over immigration enforcement.
The cold and ice concerns didn't stop people from coming out tonight to pay homage to one of the most prominent Catholic symbols, the Virgin Mary. Many sharing stories of miracles they say she's done. For Catholics, this is one of the most holy celebrations of the year. December 12, the anniversary of the Virgin Mary's appearance to St. Juan Diego in Mexico in 1531. This year's celebration comes as immigration enforcement concerns are at an all-time high, a concern many say is overshadowed by faith. A year ago, Freddy Lazaro came to the Virgin Mary to ask for a miracle. He says his granddaughter was very sick.
I don't want to see my daughter sick. I want to see walking and,
Tonight he's here despite immigration concerns. He vowed to come back to give thanks if she healed.
I don't know, look at me, I'm crying. I want to say thank you for everything.
Shrine officials say federal agents won't be allowed on church property without warrants and encourage worshipers to come in peace.
I lost my house. I lost everything. So right now I stay here.
Rosa Pina says her identity was stolen over a year ago and she's here tonight, barely able to walk, to ask Mary for a miracle.
My feelings, my body, and my memory just have problems.
For many, it's not just a religious tradition, it's a spiritual lifeline. The celebrations will continue throughout the night, and Friday, if you'd like to attend virtually, we'll have all those details on fox32chicago.com. In Des Plaines, Leslie Moreno, Fox 32 Chicago.
I'm Cassie Carlson. The Bears aren't getting ahead of themselves when it comes to playoff expectations. Instead, they're more concerned on Myles Garrett setting the single-season sack record Sunday at Soldier Field. We have all the details on their preparations for the Browns later in sports.
He must be
back. Time now for sports. The goal every week for the Bears is to be 1-0. With the playoff picture heating up in such a crowded NFC, the Bears' playoff odds hinge at minimizing mistakes. Even a 3-win Browns team cannot be overlooked. Cassie Carlson has the latest from Hallis Hall and the challenge that comes with containing Myles Garrett. The Bears have used multiple players to act as Browns pass rusher Myles Garrett as they prepare for Cleveland to come into Soldier Field on Sunday. But they admitted it's hard to simulate a player who's 3 sacks away from setting a new single-season sack record.
You said it, Myles Garrett, to start with. Dominant force, legendary, I think Hall of Famer for sure.
95 has been doing it at a high level for a long time. They got a great group, but not even just the front.
He provides a very unique challenge, one that, those guys just don't grow on trees. And so he's a guy that we're very aware of. You study a lot of tape during the week.
The Bears' second-ranked rushing offense can take notes from the Titans, who rushed for 184 yards against the Browns' defense a week ago.
We studied what they did, and we have our own game plan, our own thoughts going into the game. But it's no secret we want to run the ball, but we're also going to get the pass game going as well. So however Coach Ben calls it, we're going to execute.
I feel like that's our personality as a team: physical, tough, on all faces.
I think what's going to make us successful being able to run the football is to play with great pad level, understand, where we're going in the targeting, which, becomes a little bit easier this week in that you kind of know where they're going to be, and yet it's a challenge because they're a really good defense.
A win gets them to 10 wins on the season, which is probably not enough to secure a playoff spot. But defensive coordinator Dennis Allen said Ben Johnson isn't getting ahead of himself with the messaging to the team about making the playoffs.
It's the only focus we're on right now is Cleveland. It's the only game we have any control over, so our sole focus is on these guys, and it's a laser focus this week.
That's what it's all about. You never want to look too far ahead. I feel like that's what it should be in life, and but that's what we want to do. Take it 1 week at a time. That's what you got to do. It's a 1 week lead, I feel like.
Meantime, Roma Dunze and Tyreek Stevenson returned to practice in a limited fashion, but Kyler Gordon and Travis Homer did not practice on Thursday. At Hallis Hall, Cassie Carlson, Fox 32 Sports. All right, thanks, Cassie. Coming up on CST Daily, more with Cassie Carlson from Hallis Hall, plus our weekly conversation with the GMFB crew. Where does Jamie Erdahl see the Bears in the NFC playoff picture? And former Bears safety Mark Carrier with some insights on what's made this Bears defense successful this season. That's coming up after the news right here on Fox Chicago. Well, former Michigan head coach Jerome Moore is expected to appear in court for arraignment tomorrow. He remains in custody as a suspect in an alleged assault. Authorities have yet to release official details about his arrest. Moore was detained by police yesterday outside of Ann Arbor after receiving a call to the address of a female staffer. This comes hours after he was fired for what the school called, quote, an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This came less than 2 years after he succeeded Jim Harbaugh as the Wolverines head coach. Well, the Cubs have signed lefty reliever Hobie Milner to a 1-year deal. He had a 3.84 ERA with the Rangers last season. We're back with more after this break.
Good night.
.32 Chicago Sports. This is Chicago Sports Tonight.
We have goals, and we know what's out in front of us, and so it's just that awareness that every game matters. Every game matters, and that's where this week, you know, you go from an emotional rivalry game like we just played. This week is equally important. We need this win. We desperately need this win.
Only 4 games left in the regular season, and boy, can you easily feel the sense of urgency that head coach Ben Johnson is instilling in this Bears team as they get set to face the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, a team that's only won 3 games this year. But he's right, every game does matter. Thanks for joining us on Fox Chicago and for another edition of Chicago Sports Tonight Daily. I'm Tina Nguyen. Bears back at home on Sunday, gearing up for what's expected to be one of the coldest games at Soldier Field since 2002. Let's bring in Cassie Carlson right now. She's at Hallis Hall, staying warm. But Cassie, you will be braving the elements for us come Sunday. You heard Ben Johnson just now. This is a must win. The Browns have a top 3 defense, a rookie QB that threw for nearly 400 yards in his last game. Myles Garrett is trying to chase the single season sack record. How is this team approaching the Browns on Sunday?
Yeah, they're not going to look past the Cleveland Browns because of their 3 wins. They know that this defense can be daunting. And as you just mentioned, all the stats right there, the number 2 overall defense, their passing defense is the best in the NFL. And we know that the Bears have been struggling to find continuity and consistency in their passing game led by Caleb Williams. And so there are such things as letdown games. I think when you talk about the NFL season as a whole, we know that there's so much parity in this league. The Bears can't be an example of that coming into Sunday or going into Sunday against the Browns. They know that they still need probably 2 more wins to make it to the playoffs, and that's definitely a conversation that's being had in the building, whether or not it's from Ben Johnson or the players talking amongst themselves. Kevin Byard pointed out yesterday that last year the Seattle Seahawks had 10 wins and they didn't make it to the tournament, as they're calling it, inside this building. And so 1 win's not going to cut it probably when you're looking at the NFC this year. They need to find a way to get 2 wins, and although everyone knows that they're going to